So, my dear friends, my name is Dr. Joton Kumar Raychaudhuri, and today's topic of discussion is endometriosis. I am highly indebted to the textbook of Berek and Novak's Gynecology, Williams Gynecology, Clinical Gynecologic Endocrinology and Infertility, ACOG and RCOG journals. Management of endometriosis. Prevention. There is no definite preventive management in endometriosis. Aerobic activity from an early age may have a possible protective effect. Oral contraceptive use may also have a protective effect from endometriosis, and the possible mechanisms may be inhibition of ovulation, reduction in the menstrual volume, interference in implantation of the refluxed endometrium. Still, oral contraceptives cannot be recommended as a primary preventive management. Principles of treatment. The treatment depends upon individual patient's complaints, age, site and degree of endometriosis as well as the desire to preserve future fertility. Conservation of the reproductive function is an utmost important, and endometriotic surgery should always be considered to be a reproductive surgery. Problem lies because endometriosis is often detected late and the patient presents with both pain and infertility, which complicates the choice of treatment. So basically, treatment for symptomatic patients includes analgesics, hormones, surgery, assisted reproduction, and a combination of all these modalities. So be it symptomatic or asymptomatic, all cases of endometriosis should be under treatment and surveillance, as it is a chronic and progressive disease. Treatment of endometriosis associated with pain. Pain affects quality of life severely, and the management of pain needs multidisciplinary approach. And this bothersome pain often persists even after adequate medical and surgical treatment. And the surgical treatment for pain, the goal of surgery includes excision of all visible endometriotic lesions and associated adhesions, which includes peritoneal lesions, endometriotic cysts, and deep rectovaginal endometriosis. Restoration of anatomy has to be done with mobility and functional capability of the reproductive organs. Laparoscopy is always a better option than laparotomy unless the surgeon is quite experienced in laparoscopy or the disease is so advanced that it is very difficult for management. Conservative surgery for peritoneal endometriosis. Now the peritoneal lesions can be removed during laparoscopy by surgical excisions with scissors or by bipolar coagulation or laser ablation. Now the surgical ablation of peritoneal endometriosis is equally effective as surgical excision. However, excision is preferred as it allows histological examination. Conservative surgery for ovarian endometriosis. Superficial ovarian lesions can be vaporized. Ovarian endometrioma can be managed by either excision of the cyst wall or drainage and ablation of the cyst wall. During excision, the endometrioma is aspirated, followed by incision of the cyst wall and the cyst wall removed from the ovarian cortex with maximal preservation of the normal ovarian tissue. Occasionally, a portion of the cyst wall may be intimately adherent with the underlying ovarian follicles and bleeds on separation, which is better to leave in situ with surface ablation of the residual endocyst. And during the drainage procedure, the drainage and ablation, the endometrioma is aspirated, the endocyst is inspected for any intracystic lesions, and it is vaporized to destroy the mucosal lining of the cyst. For endometriomas around 3 cm, the cyst excision is better than cyst wall ablation with regard to recurrence of endometrioma and pain as well as improvement in fertility. However, for very large endometrioma, a 3-stage procedure may be done, with marsupialization and rinsing, then GnRH agonist for 3 months, and then cyst-wall vaporization after 3 months. Closure of the ovary with an intra-ovarian suture leads to less adhesion formation. Surgical management of deep endometriosis. Pre-operative ultrasonography and MRI, here MRI is useful to quantify the extent of the disease and to evaluate the involvement of the GI tract and urinary tract. Surgery is avoided for asymptomatic cases, and it is indicated for symptomatic cases and for some asymptomatic cases with ureteral obstructions. Patients should be counseled properly about the possibility of the extent of surgery and the risk. Because management is complex and difficult, it may need multidisciplinary approach, so referral to an equipped center is recommended. Deep endometriosis is multifocal, and complete excision in one-step surgery is recommended to avoid multiple surgery. The surgery is often radical with excision of all lesions, including the uterus and appendages. But for conservative surgery, when uterus and ovary is preserved, surgery may include resection of the uterosacral ligament and upper part of the posterior vaginal wall, plus bowel and urological operations. Though the operation can be performed by laparoscopy, robotic surgery and laparoscopy-assisted vaginal surgery by expert hands, but laparotomy is still the usual mode for most of the surgeons. Deep endometriosis surgery. Now the preoperative intestinal preparation is recommended. Placement of an ureteric catheter may facilitate the excision of the periureteral endometriosis, ureterolysis and end-to-end anastomosis of the ureter if needed. Most of the surgeons prefer a 3 months course of preoperative GnRH to reduce the vascularity along with the size, inflammation and adhesion. However, ASHRAE guidelines does not recommend this. Bladder endometriosis may be managed by excision of the lesion followed by primary closure of the bladder wall well above the trigone. Ureteral lesions are excised over an ureteric stent with intrinsic ureteral lesion and ureteric obstruction. Segmental excision with end-to-end anastomosis or a reimplantation like vesicoureteroplasty may be done. Excision of deep rectovaginal and rectosigmoid endometriosis may result in bowel perforation. So it can be managed by shaving, conservative excision or resection anastomosis. Cordis, which is a consensus on recording deep endometriosis surgery, it is a highly qualified prospective study and it was published in 2016 to standardize the clinical outcome after deep endometriosis surgery. Adhesiolysis. Now the endometriosis is often associated with pelvic and sometimes extrapelvic adhesions. Now these adhesions may be thin and flimsy or thick, distorting the pelvic anatomy. Adhesiolysis should be done carefully under traction, and normal pelvic anatomy and mobility of the pelvic organs has to be restored. Adhesion usually recur. However, laparoscopy reduces the chance of adhesion formation than laparotomy. Though RCTs did not find any role of barrier methods during surgery, but ASHRAE acknowledges that clinicians may consider oxidized regenerative cellulose and potentially other barrier agents after surgery to minimize the adhesion formation. LUNA and PSN. The surgical interruption of the pelvic nerve pathway may be considered in addition to the conservative surgery of endometriosis to control the pain of the disease in future. And the two techniques that are suggested are LUNA, that means laparoscopic uterine nerve ablation, and the presacral neurectomy. Now in LUNA, it is done by division of the uterosacral ligaments at the point of their attachment to the cervix, which interrupt most of the cervical sensory fibers and some of the corporeal sensory fibers and lead to the reduced uterine pain at the time of menstruation. However, it does not obliterate all the afferent sensory nerve supply to provide complete painless periods and does not give additional benefit. Presacral neurectomy, on the other hand, significantly reduces the midline pelvic pain, including dysmenorrhea, but it has little effect on adnexal pain, as the sensory nerves of these adnexal area accompany the ovarian vessels. The so-called presacral nerve is found in a triangle known as the interiliac triangle, and the lower limit of that triangle is the sacral promontory, and the lateral boundaries are formed by the two common iliac arteries meeting at the bifurcation of the aorta above. PSN is an effective procedure, but it requires a high degree of surgical skills to avoid serious complications. In addition, it may result in constipation, urinary urgency, and less pain in the first stage of labor. The ultimate outcome of conservative surgery is operator dependent and also depends on the degree of endometriosis. Prevention of recurrence after conservative surgery. Recurrence rate of endometriosis is very high, and after conservative surgery the recurrence is around 5 to 20% per year. The severity of endometriosis and the completeness of primary surgery are the determining factor of recurrence. The addition of post-operative hormonal therapy for prevention of recurrence has two important directions. The short-term hormone therapy up to 6 months to improve the outcome of surgery by acting on any residual endometriosis, and the other is long-term hormone therapy for secondary prevention by suppression of the ovarian function and menstruation, and thereby preventing development of new lesions. Long-term hormone therapy definitely has got some role, but the short-term GnRH analog treatment, even in cases of stage 3 and stage 4 endometriosis, does not delay recurrence. Long-term postoperative hormonal therapy. There is circumstantial evidence that a regular postoperative use of oral contraceptive pill effectively prevents endometrial recurrence. No significant difference noted between cyclic versus continuous use for recurrence, dyspareunia and pelvic pain. However, dysmenorrhea improves with continuous use. In another study, post-surgical treatment with levonorgestrel intrauterine system or dipomedroxyprogesterone acetate for 3 years also reduces painful periods and recurrence of endometriosis. Compliance is better and change in BMD better in LNG-IUD group than dipomedroxyprogesterone acetate group. So, short-term postoperative hormonal therapy does not improve the outcome of conservative surgery, and it is also not recommended. However, long-term postoperative hormonal therapy is recommended for secondary prevention of endometriosis. Choice of drug depends on the patient's choice, side effects and cost. The indications are for the two major groups. One, after cystectomy for endometrioma, where the patient does not want immediate pregnancy, and also in those group after conservative surgery for secondary prevention of dysmenorrhea. So we have discussed the role of conservative surgery in the management of endometriosis associated with pain. Now, radical surgery. Radical surgery in the form of total hysterectomy and oblique or oophorectomy are indicated in severe cases. It can be done by laparoscopy or laparotomy. If a hysterectomy is performed, all visible endometriotic tissue should be removed. Bilateral salping oophorectomy gives the maximum relief and sometimes may be considered in young women in a very severe or recurrent disease. Thank you for your patient watching. If you like the video, please subscribe. Namaste.